Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now, it's time!
And welcome everyone to the Circle Debate, our championship on the line, Cage by Q MMA podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here on the Circle Debate and the Bloodline Entertainment Network YouTube channel. It's the host of TV's what I've been seeing here with me, Familia, the greatest MMA podcasters of all time, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Right in my blood, right here, baby. Of course, I got the man with the IQ. That man I wish Dana White could have sometimes and not slapping his wives, because this man doesn't do that. That's, of course, Dan Bakley, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on, Bakley?
I'm happy that Marab won, I'll tell you that one.
I'm pretty sure you are. And, of course, I got the man who brings that rage in that cage and will introduce you to pain if you don't listen to this man. You don't follow his diet. You don't follow his coaching, because this man, he is ire, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Rage. What is going on, Coach?
What's up, everyone?
That is right. Yes, we're here today, ladies and gentlemen, back to back. Oh, yes, Bo Jackson, what is going on? Appreciate you for coming in. Oh, Will Gray, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. We're going to appreciate you all, whoever's watching on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. Make sure before you subscribe, follow the Bloodline Entertainment Network, because this is also on there besides your TOD. I'm assuming you guys already caught the Nick, the Universal Wrestling podcast earlier this evening, and prior to that, you caught, of course, Mike De Niro versus DeLorean podcast recapping ECW. But we're not here to talk about pro wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. No, we're here to talk about this fight coming up this Saturday, and that is, of course, UFC 286, and that is Leon Edwards versus Usman 3, the trilogy to end this in the hometown of Leon Edwards at the O2 Arena. Finally, he's getting his wish. He is main eventing for the first time, and I'm excited. Everybody's excited here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man, let's get into the action. Let's start with the first match of the main card. Go ahead, Bakley. My apologies. That was my fault. Go ahead.
All good. We got the middleweight matchup. We got Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze.
Oh, this is incredible. So, Bakley, take it away, my brother. Who do you got on this one?
This is going to be a good one. Marvin Vettori is coming in. He's been in the top 3, top 4 for the past couple of years. Going up against Dolidze, who came out of nowhere, is riding a 3-fight winning streak. He looked really good in the last 2 fights. He's been able to kind of mix up the grappling with the power striking that he has. He's been doing a better job of not just unloading on guys that get tired. He picks and chooses his spots a little bit better now, and it's just showcased a little bit more. But I'm still going with Vettori in this matchup. I think the forward pressure, the forward movement, he's constantly throwing. He has really good cardio with that. Even when he looks a little bit tired, he's still throwing. And he has the threat of the takedown as well. Even though Dolidze is really good with his grappling, I think it's a different grappling than what Vettori is. And Vettori's always going to move forward. He always finds a way. The only guy that really kind of solved him was Adesanya, and that's because he fought from a distance and kind of just point fighted him, add the volume, and kind of just circled around him to avoid the shots. And I don't see Dolidze doing that. I could see a situation where Dolidze catches him possibly, but I just think the volume and their grappling of Vettori is going to be too much. I see him winning by decision.
Really? I feel the same for Dolidze. I think he's going to win by decision. He's been on a 4-fight winning streak since the last. I'm trying to remember who did he lose to. I think to Trevin Giles. Okay, because he lost to him. And from there, he's just been on a hot streak. I mean, most of guy got a power. He got power with that's striking ability. Vettori, his last fight with Whitaker, But like I said, what's going on, broadcast? Australia. That's right. Appreciate you, Tom. Man, I can't really say much about Vittori. You know, it's just I like what you mentioned, Bickley. Like his grappling. I mean, that's why I feel like this is going to be a great opening fight for the main card. And I'm going to have to go with Roman Dolidze on decision on this one, man. I have to. This is something tells me this guy's might do something here that's going to surprise everybody. Coach, floor is yours.
Full disclosure here, I'm biased on this one. I know Marvin. I know his coach. I know his coaches, I should say. So he's fighting out of King's MMA. Master Rafael Cordero will be in his corner. And he has a boxing coach who is also quite phenomenal. And I think he's been working with him as well. So the other thing, I know a lot of people that have sparred with Marvin, and his body shots stop people in training. They stop. He drops people in the training room. So I'm thinking that's probably what's going to happen. Marvin, I think, has the edge in the grappling. I think he has the strength. They're both going to be fairly comparable. Roman is aggressive, but I think Marvin's experience and strength of schedule is better. But to be honest, I cannot get past my own personal bias. I consider Marvin a friend, and I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win with a liver shot round 2.
Ooh, wow. Liver shot round 2. Ooh. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it down. I need to. He's a liver shot round 2. Okay. Also, I'll be passing in the chat. I'll be definitely in the chat telling you were right.
Yeah. Also, look at the competition that they both face. Marvin Vittori has faced the last 5 or 6 fights have been in the top 10, where Dolidze finally fought somebody in the top 15, I believe it was, taking the fight on short notice against Hermanson.
Right.
In which he looked good in that fight.
Yeah. He looked good. But also, like most of Marvin's losses have been in title contention, or at least with a champion, right? So he lost to Izzy twice. But the second time was for the belt, and then when he lost to so his strength of schedule is just far superior, and I think his overall experience. But like I said, I'm biased.
Love it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be a great opening fight for sure. What do we got next, Bigley? Break it down for us.
We got a women's flyweight matchup. We got Jennifer Maia going up against the returning Casey O'Neill, coming back from a serious, I believe, leg injury that she had surgery on. She's been out for almost, I think, between 9 to 12 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Her last fight was in February. Yeah. So,
do we know what the surgery was?
I can look it up for you.
And by we, I mean, you guys with the computers and stuff.
Yep. Yes. I'm on it already. I'm trying to see what was the surgery on. Let's see.
It was
torn ACL.
Yeah, 2 surgeries she had.
Wow.
Yeah, she had a torn ACL. Was it an MCL too, or just only just?
It says damaged knee, completely tearing her ACL.
Okay.
Ooh. Wow, that's gonna be tough for her to come back. I mean, it's pretty much been over a year for her. So this is a comeback for her. So this is gonna be very interesting to see. I mean,
it's gonna be a factor.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. It is gonna be a factor, an advantage for Maia, because obviously Maia, from her, her last fight against Morena Moros. So that was just in November. So that was just not that long ago. So she's already she's been on it. I mean, me, I know that Casey knows. Yeah, this has been over. I don't. It's hard for me to see how she's gonna be, when she's into that octagon. I want to see how pretty much has she progressed, how like she took care of herself, obviously trained hard. So it's a lot of questions in that one. It's honestly the reason why I'm choosing Maya, in fact, because she obviously has the leverage because this is O'Neal's been out over a year. We don't know how her conditions are now when she enters into the octagon. So that's something that I'm really, really invested to see and how her performance will be, and will that be, maybe her leg pretty much is to see how, her footwork will be mainly because that's a difficult. I mean, in the sport, I mean, you could tell me, I mean, coach, I mean, it's tough coming from a torn ACL, knee damage to come back into the octagon and get back what you had before when it comes to footwork, especially because it gets a little bit fearful because any movement can go wrong on your footwork, and that's dangerous for Casey, in my opinion. But I wish her the best. Let's see if she could, win this fight. But for now, I'm just being biased because I don't know her like that. But Maya, baby, I'll just take Maya. I say, I would say I'll play it safe for right now. Decision. I'll go with decision on this one. Bakley, who do you got, bro?
I'm going against the grain with the injury, and I think O'Neal's going to get it done by third round sub because her game's not primarily the stand-up game. Like, she has good stand-up where she throws a lot of volume. It's not the best striking. It's not precise, but she throws it and she pours in a lot of volume. But her bread and butter is the jiu-jitsu side of things, getting down to the ground. She has great top guard, great ground and pound when she gets it down. She landed a lot of shots on Antonina Shevchenko. I believe it was last fight or 2 fights ago that she did. And she showcased that she's already good at taking the back and choking her opponent out. She did that her debut, the second fight, and I think she almost got Shevchenko, but then she wound up just finishing her with the ground and pound.
Yep.
And I do have to factor in the knee injury and tearing it, but I feel like that would be more so with the stand-up game and trying to go after Maya with the striking, because Maya, she has that Muay Thai background. She's all about just hit and go.
Yeah.
And I just don't see her being too much of a threat later on in the fight. And I do like the chances of Casey O'Neill grappling up with her in the clinch and taking her down. There's also scenarios where I think Maya could somehow finish O'Neill early because of the tentativeness of fighting and seeing how her knee goes in the beginning. But I think the longer the fight goes, it's going to benefit O'Neill. She's going to get acclimated. She's going to get more confident with the knee, and you might see her wait to shoot for the clinch and try and drag her down with the leg trip.
Yeah.
So I got her third round sub. I got a rear naked choke.
Oh, awesome. Love to see that. Coach, take it away.
So with the ACL, it's a brutal surgery. Rehab is often very, very painful. However, all that being said, I personally know several fighters that have no ACL at all in one or both of their knees. It, it happens a lot. The injury happens. Sometimes the surgery doesn't take. Sometimes they rupture the ligament, and then it gets grafted in, and then they rupture it again, and then that's it. So it's definitely a factor, but I don't know if it's going to be the deciding factor.
Right.
O'Neal lost her first 2 amateur fights. Her second amateur fight was in 2015, and she has not lost a fight since 2015. So she's on a 14 if you're counting amateurs also, right?
Right.
She's on like a 14 win streak. So I think that's all strong in her favor. The other thing, jiu-jitsu works better for the lighter weight classes, and women only have lighter weight classes. And if you look at the data that the UFC PI put out, they aggregate all the submissions, and um, flyweight and strawweight have more submissions. So the lighter you get, the more submissions happen, and it's part of the strategy, but that it's also because they're lighter, so the striking doesn't work as well. It's a lot harder to generate a knockout at 125 pounds than 210. So I think O'Neal is going to take it. I think rear naked choke is the most common submission in MMA by a broad margin. So I think that's the safe bet, and I'm not just copying. I might be though.
Awesome.
And Maya has been taken down 10 times total in the last 4 fights.
Jesus.
All right.
Okay. Let's hope so. I mean, O'Neal's 25. I mean, she's young, and she still had. I mean, I'm hoping that it's.
What's Maya's age?
I'll find it right now. Maya is. I'll let you know in a moment. Maya is 34.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. As a head, 9-year gap difference, right? Like, yeah. But like how you mentioned.
So in MMA, this is interesting. Age is a significant factor as far as statistics. So generally speaking, the younger fighter wins, and it's a pretty significant stat. I just don't remember exactly what it is, but it's over 70% of the time. One thing that is different about MMA, we give reach and height stats, but they are nominally significant. So in boxing and kickboxing, height and reach matter, but much less so in MMA. The reach in the striking is essentially nullified with the grappling. So in boxing and MMA, you look at the data, you look at the stats, and it's statistically significant that the fighter with the longer reach and more height wins more often.
Right.
But that does not manifest that way in MMA.
I think it only matters. I think statistically in MMA, it only matters if the reach is above 3 or 4 inches. I think that's the only time that it matters.
If it's a significant reach advantage, and at the heavier weight classes, so it matters more for heavyweight, and then light heavy, and then after that it just kind of statistically disappears.
You just look at the two guys that have the biggest reach, which is John Jones and Sergey Pavlovich. You see why.
Yep.
Absolutely, yes. Oh man, I can't wait. So like I said, I hope you guys are right. I hope we'll pull that off. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'll be happy for her because ever since her debut in the UFC, she's undefeated. I mean, and I'm hoping she gets back into the rankings. I mean, currently they have her. I mean, they ranked her at what, Bakley? Because I know she's in the ranks for some other reason, right?
She is
number 12.
Number 12.
Number 12. So she's
and professionally, she's undefeated professionally.
Yeah, she's undefeated.
I think when she fought last, she was 9 or 10, but because of being inactive, she moved down to 12.
Yeah, and rankings, man, they're so. Yeah. Okay.
I digress. I know you want to. I know you want to. Fuck the rankings.
Especially pound for pound. Like, there's so little rhyme or reason to pound for pound rankings. It's just, well, it's a fictional ranking anyway. So they have their, dramatic license or whatever. But anyway, okay. Let's let's shut Coach up because he just talks too much.
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, we're learning from the coach too.
Yep.
Or also acknowledging and learning from the coach as well. That's the point. Take it away, Baker. What do we got next, brother?
Next one, we got a welterweight matchup. We got Gunnar Nelson going up against Brian Barberena. This is Gunnar Nelson's second fight back from returning to the octagon after, I believe it was 2 or 3 years away from the UFC.
And break it down for us, Baker. Give us your take.
Well, it's the matchup of styles. You got Brian Barberena. He's all about throwing the kitchen sink. He wants to stand up and trade, brawl, basically. He's all about the striking. And then you got Gunnar Nelson, who he can stand up and strike, but it's all about the grappling in this matchup for him. He does a really good job of clinching up with the opponent and then kind of just taking their back and riding their back to try and pull them to the mat, and then ground and pound them from there. And we've seen in the past, specifically the Jason Witt fight with Brian Barberena, where he struggled with the takedowns. He struggled there. He struggled on UFC Columbus. What was it? Matt Brown, I believe it was. He struggled with it there. He somehow still got the split decision win, but he struggled getting up and defend the takedown there. It's just one thing that he can't do is defend the takedown. And I just see Gunnar Nelson riding his back, taking him down repeatedly, and just riding him. I really don't see a finish because I don't see Gunnar Nelson. He could be a finisher, but he hasn't done it in a while. And I see this more of a fight where he stylistically tries to take him down and just grind and pound him on the mat. So I could see a finish on the mat, but I think it's going to be more like a decision type fight where he just takes him down and controls him, with Barberena not being able to really defend against the takedown or get up.
So your decision is
it's Gunnar Nelson decision.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I could say I'm familiar with these guys, but I'm not. So I'm gonna have to pass on this one, unfortunately. There's certain fighters I'm familiar with, but not all of them. So I apologize my knowledge for that. But I'm not much familiar with these two guys. I mean, if I have to pick, I can tell you right now, I will pick, Gunnar. I'll pick him by decision. I mean, just by the looks of it. I mean, reading the stats, looking. I mean, the reach and height advantage. Even though Brian is 6 foot, and he has a half inch, even more reach than Gunnar. But looking at their styles and their training camp, I mean, yeah, it looks like, for me, it looks like Nelson has more of the advantage. I mean, but like I said, I got to more know about these two individuals here, especially if it's a welterweight division. So I definitely got to look into.
Barberena was taken down in 4 fights. 4 of the last 5 fights, he was taken down 23 times in his 4 fights. He was taken down 4 times by Dos Anjos, 5 by Matt Brown, 4 by Darian Weeks, and 8 by Jason Witt. He's not even in the UFC anymore.
Wow. Damn.
Okay. So I like Barberena. I think he's cool. I think he's a fun character. I like his forward pressure, aggressive style. But he is not super technical. And what I see happening, and this is going against what I want to happen. What I want to see Barberena with a power punch knock Gunnar senseless.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that's going to happen. The reason I want to see Gunnar get beat up is because he beat my friend a while ago. So yeah, he beat Alan Joban way back when, and I hold grudges. So I don't know, but what I see happening is actually pretty similar to what happened with my friend Alan, Gunnar, his stand-up is pretty traditional karate. So what he does well, and what a lot of real karate fighters do well, is they blitz in, cover a good amount of distance quickly. So when he fought Alan Joban, that's what happened. He covered a bunch of distance from a range that is uncommon to boxing and uncommon to Muay Thai. So he was just outside the range that you think is dangerous. He shot in with what's called a reverse punch, which is the karate version of the cross. But please don't get mad at me if you practice karate and don't like that me defining it that way. But it's a straight punch, but you hit with the entire body. You move your body weight in. So he lands that shot and then goes right into the grappling. And as you guys have already pointed out, Barberina's takedown defense is lacking, and Gunnar is actually really good on the ground. His submission grappling, his BJJ, is really good. So I actually see this fight ending quickly and decisively. I think it is going to be a submission. I don't know what the submission will be. He's going to crash the distance with the karate strike, come in, get the takedown. Highest probability is that it will be an RNC, but I'm going to say it's a guillotine. So
Ooh.
Gunnar, guillotine choke, round one.
Wow, round one. Ooh.
And if you want to go back further than that, he was taken down 12 times by Covington.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, okay,
in three rounds.
Okay, but Covington's an outlier, right? He's a pace and takedown machine, so that's not exactly fair.
Hey, he's right though. It's not fair though. How did it come out? You know Covington already.
Like Barberina is really good in those like just bar fights where he just stands up and trades. Like
and he's fun to watch, and he's a cool guy. So
he's cool. I had him on the show.
Really?
2 years ago, literally after.
And you picked against him. What, you see how you are? You see how you are?
I gotta take it out. If I picked everybody that I had on the show, then I'd have had to like eliminate 30 people from picking against. But I wasn't a fan that he left MMA Labs and went and did his own camp in Carolina. He moved across country from I believe MMA Lab is in Phoenix, I believe it is, and now he's over on the East Coast. Basically training by himself. He goes to some gym 2.5 hours away to train. I forget what gym he's at now, but ever since he's done that, he's kind of focused more on the striking rather than kind of like striking to bend the takedowns and whatnot. He's kind of gotten into that focus of this is the type of fighter I am. I can't kind of change it now. And you've seen it. You've seen in the fights that he wins is a stand-up brawl. Then the fights that he loses, he gets taken down and controlled, and his opponent limits what he can do on his feet.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. What do we got next, Bigley?
Oh, buddy, we got the co-main event. We got a lightweight battle. We got Justin Gaethje versus Rafael FIZIEV. This is a matchup that I'm looking forward to big time. And this is one of the two guys that fight in Denver, Colorado, of course, because Justin Gaethje and Usman are training partners.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And this is the one I'm really excited for because seeing Rafael FIZIEV, just seeing his fights, I mean, the man's credentials, what is it, Sambo fighter, Muay Thai, I believe so. Yeah, Muay Thai fighter. This guy has heavy hands, and this guy can fucking punch. And this is going to be a challenge for Gaethje because, mind you, we know Gaethje doesn't have a chin. I'm going to say it straightforward. I mean, the guy doesn't really have much of a chin, man. So Jesus, man.
You could have told me different in the Michael Chandler fight. How many times did he get hit and then he just kept on going?
Yeah, but it's like, it's coming to a point that Gaethje's gonna have no chin down the line. It's just this is gonna be a challenge for Gaethje. It's most definitely gonna be a challenge. This guy, FIZIEV, is hungry. He wants to be in the top, contender spot in the rankings, and seeing the way how, of course, we already digressed about it, embedded that they gotta show the true training of it, which I'm okay with. But the preview of what I've seen so far between these two individuals, I'm loving the fact that this man is really analytical of Gaethje. He's really watching what this Gaethje brings to the table, and knowing that Gaethje, it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a fight of the night, in my opinion. I think this might be the fight of the night. Question is, who would I choose? And I love Gaethje. I love me some Gaethje, but seeing this guy, this upcoming rising star in the lightweight division, makes me want to put my money on him, because I feel like if Gaethje loses this fight, I don't think we're gonna see him in a long time to get a title shot anytime soon. He needs to win this fight. He needs to win this fight to get another title shot again. This is a tough one, man. Damn it, Gaethje, you put me in a bad position. Jesus. And I don't look. I love Gaethje's wrestling, but you're fighting a sambo fighter, though. That's a whole. I don't know. For me, it's a whole different world there, And this is gonna be really, really, really. Man, fuck it. I'm going with the upcoming star. Fuck it, FIZIEV. I say third round. Yes, 23 rounds. So yeah, the third round he'll knock him out. Third round TKO. I think he's gonna catch Gaethje, and Gaethje's gonna get caught. This guy's a heavy hitter, man. Something tells me if this guy. I'm loving the fact what we're seeing right now, that the future of this, not only this division but overall in the octagon in MMA and UFC, we're seeing a lot of upcoming rising stars now, like upcoming fighters that we're finally seeing in the that we've been dying to ask for the last couple of years, and we're seeing that. And I feel that this man has the potential to do it. It just, my question is he able to handle, Gaethje too as well? So, but the way how I seen this man, this last couple fights, this is the guy. So I have to go with him third round. TKO. Go for it, baby. Who do you got?
If anybody were to have any close of a style of like a quick snap and leg kick like Jose Aldo did, it would probably be Rafael FIZIEV. His leg kicks are very lethal. He does it very quick. He's beaten a couple guys just by throwing that snap and leg kick many times, and to a point where they just couldn't walk because he would just throw it. But that was kind of like the version 1.0 of FIZIEV, where he would just come out, throw a lot of volume, throw those leg kicks, and then he would just tire out after round one. He's kind of had to evolve a little bit, where he has to take chances here and there. He doesn't throw everything in the kitchen sink at you right away. He is more patient. He moves around. He throws the leg kick, comes back, and then starts striking with you. But then he'll out of nowhere throw a leg kick to the head. Like he throws the leg kicks everywhere at you, but it's all with the intent. He has good takedown defense. He showcased that a little bit. Like that was one of his weaknesses, I felt like, and he did a better job against Rafael dos Anjos.
Oh my God!
The takedown in that fight. Like he got taken down, but he showed a better job that he put work into defending it, and he stuffed 50% of his takedowns. The one weakness with him, though, is his cardio. He tends to tire out as the fight goes on, like in rounds 2, 3, 4, 5. This is only a 3-round fight, so it's going to be more about rounds 2 and 3 for him because of how he pushes pace and how he moves around. And he does a lot of backing up in fights. So, when you back up, it can push backwards. You're wasting more energy than if you're pushing forward at an opponent. And that's something that Justin Gaethje does a lot of, pushing forward, throwing those knockout blows. Like he's been mixing leg kicks to the calf, and then he'll throw one, and then he'll throw one of those overhand rights at you. And half the time he'll knock somebody out. But lately he hasn't been doing that. except for against Chandler. He knocked him down a couple times. He did hit Oliveira good. He even hit Islam, but then, of course, they rose from the dead and then just beat him and finished him in rounds 2 and 3 in both of those fights. But the one thing, and I'm going to say this in the main event and then this one, you're going to see more of the back to the basics from GAETHJE and Usman with the grappling. And I don't think FIZIEV is going to think that he's going to use the wrestling to the extent that he's going to do, because it's going to be something that he doesn't expect. I think he's going to use the striking to open up the level change to take down FIZIEV and to control him on the mat and see if he can waste a little bit of that cardio, a little bit of that gas tank,
Right.
and do a little bit of ground and pound. Because once FIZIEV slows down, it's easier to hit him on the feet, easier to land one of those overhand shots. But I could also see him having very big success on the mat to where he doesn't really need to do that, where he can control him on the mat in this fight. But then if the fight stays standing and he doesn't do that, I fear that he could get pieced up, volume-rise by FIZIEV. I think it all depends on if he decides to wrestle or not in this matchup. I think that's the big factor going into this co-main event. I think he uses it, and I think it's either he's going to get a late finish or it's going to go to a decision where he ekes out a decision victory because of the grappling. Because unless FIZIEV can defend the takedowns, he's not going to be able to throw too much volume that he wants to throw to just outpoint GAETHJE. And I do think GAETHJE still has a good chin from all the shots that he takes in fights. It's just that he's very easily hittable to where it goes in there and allows people to hit him because he's trying to hit them back.
Well, it's breaking news right now that they're saying that we're on Twitch, by the way, too. They're saying right now that the fight's off, that FIZIEV has an injury. I'm trying to look for that breaking news too, because we're live right now, seeing that. I want to make sure, because I haven't seen any announcement or gotten you know how you get a Bleacher Report. Oh, injury! Oh no, I haven't gotten anything of that. That would really hurt the card, in my opinion. I don't know who you're gonna put last minute on that, because Jesus, I'm looking forward to. So I'm looking forward. Let's see. No, I don't see any.
I don't see anything yet.
I don't see anything late. Yeah, I don't see. He said Ariel Helwani posted it. Is that what he said? Because he said Ariel Helwani posted it an hour ago. But sometimes Ariel Helwani's full of shit. Sometimes, you know how he is. He is. Yeah. The guy is full of shit sometimes.
Yeah, I hope it's not canceled, because if you look at the undercard or the prelims, they don't have anyone to move up. I mean, they'll move probably the last prelim into the first main card slot, but
which would be Makwan Amirkhani and Jack Shore.
Who?
Makwan Amirkhani and Jack Shore.
Like, who are they?
Exactly. Who the fuck are they? I don't know.
Right?
Who are you? I don't think
those are two guys that are fighting on the card because this is in London.
Yeah,
they're not two guys that anyone really gives a.
Yeah, I don't see anything. So.
Yeah, I don't see anything yet. So I mean, I appreciate you
I'll keep an eye out.
We'll keep an eye out for sure while we're still breaking this down. But I totally agree. Before I pass to you, Coach, basically that was the one thing I wanted to mention, and I got stuck for it. Was my concern with Rafael is his cardio. You nailed it. That's my concern, because looking at his fight, like the one with those Sanchos and those other prior fights, his cardio is not. This is where my major concern is around. Yeah. If that does happen, that's really good. Then GAETHJE probably could take it all the way, because if he's going to be pushing back, pushing him forward more than GAETHJE does. If you
watch the Bobby Green fight, he did very good round 1, and then Bobby Green kind of came back halfway through round 2, and FIZIEV was kind of just surviving in that fight later on. Like, he was able to kind of do enough in round 2, part 1, like the first half, to take that round, but then Bobby Green took the last half, and then Bobby Green poured on an onslaught round 3 when FIZIEV couldn't really move as fast as he usually can.
Right. All right. Absolutely. Coach, take it away.
So I am a fan of Justin Gaethje and his coach Trevor Whitman. However, uh, I think Gaethje looked awful against Oliveira. He also looked awful against Khabib, but everyone looks awful against Khabib, so it's hard to hold that against him. Uh, Gaethje and Chandler was a fun fight. It was fun. I don't wasn't smart, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
um, so for a while now, I've been contending that the style of strength and conditioning that Gaethje has been doing consistently now for several years is actually detrimental to his maximum power and his absolute strength. And I think it's been showing itself a little more frequently where he's lacking the one punch knockout power that he used to possess.
Right.
And what happens if you do too much steady state or long steady distance training, if you do too much aerobic based training, your body will adapt to that. And aerobic based training is slow, steady, consistent. So if you do a lot of that kind of work, that's what your body adapts to. It's the SAID principle, SAID, specific adaptation to imposed demands.
Mm-hmm.
Your body adapts to the demands that you place upon it.
Okay.
So early on, Gaethje had problems with his endurance, and so they kind of overprescribed the steady state training. And this is it's a pretty common mistake made universally in combat sports. Strength and conditioning, to be good at strength and conditioning and programming, you need several areas of study, and you need to be studying them for a lifetime. You need to be scientifically literate. You need to be current on all the latest research. And a good S&C coach is hard to find, and they're incredibly expensive, the real good ones. And most of them don't work in combat sports. So
Mm,
that's my little sermon for today.
love it.
I think this is going to be fairly one-sided. I think it's going to be exciting to watch, but I I heard a rumor that Justin Gaethje was a collegiate wrestler and a damn good one. But
Yep.
I've never seen him wrestle ever.
I'm
Not
curious
once.
too. I never seen him wrestle at all. Not yeah.
It's
I'm with you.
it's the stereotypical you fall in love with the knockout. You do it enough,
Yeah, but
you
even
fall in love with
like
it, and then it changes. It's
early
changed a lot of
early
players.
on in wrestlers' MMA careers, they do a lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
I've never seen Gaethje do any wrestling ever at all. Uh, he's fun to watch, and I like that. I would rather watch people throwing bombs than people being blankets. I'd rather watch that all day. But so Blakely, I agree with your assessment of what the wisest technical strategy would be for Gaethje, right? Take Fiziev down, tire him out on the ground, take away some of that speed and power. I don't think Gaethje's going to do that. I think Gaethje's going to be Gaethje. He's going to go stand and bang, and man, Fiziev is actually better at standing and banging. Now, Gaethje again could use some technical footwork from boxing and negate or actually override the stand and bang style of Muay Thai. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Gaethje's going to get drawn into the stand and bang, and FIZIEV is just light years better at that game. So I think Gaethje's going to get stopped. I think Gaethje is going to get stopped. I think he's going to get. I don't know if he's going to get knocked out or if he's going to get dropped with a liver shot, but I think he's going to get knocked out. And it's gonna, man, is it going to happen late in round 1 or early in round 3? I'm going to go with early in round 3.
Yeah, there you go. That's how I feel too. If it's gonna happen in like early round 3, it's crazy that Gaethje's a fucking wrestler. We never seen it. Like, what the hell? Because see, that's what Trevor Whitman does. Because remember when he had Usman, when we were introduced to Usman, he was more of a ground type wrestler, right? But when he switched camps, he went to Trevor. Then he is throughout his career, most of his majority would have been knockout. And I want to see Gaethje. I'm now curious now that you mentioned it, Coach, and like he's a collision wrestler. Yeah, I want to see that. If he can do that here,
And I'll let you in on a little secret, guys. In MMA, or actually in fighting, when you use your grappling to set up your striking and use your striking to set up your grappling, striking makes grappling easier and more dangerous, and grappling makes striking easier and more dangerous. If you know how to mix it. MMA actually stands for mixed martial arts. So if you actually know how to mix the martial arts, knockouts come pretty easy. So
and it makes your opponent think more, because they have to think, are you going to shoot? And then you can pick them out and go for the overhand, or vice versa.
The technical perfect defense for wrestling is the absolute perfect way to get knocked the fuck out in boxing. Mm-hmm. And the guard cover that is pretty easy and universal in Muay Thai is the best way to get wrestle fucked. The best way to get a blast double or a single leg. You're standing high and covering high, and your legs are
wide open.
Mm-hmm. So, MMA's awesome, guys. And you have to be good enough at grappling. You got to be good enough at striking, and you got to know how to put them together. And there's just so many variables that you got to keep track of. And it's pretty exciting. But I don't think Gaethje has changed that much. Because the thing is, like, there's this potential. And I just don't think we're ever going to see it from him. I think he decided that he wanted to be the most violent fighter in the UFC, and he was for a while, but I don't know if he still retains that title. And I think he could have done better with the gifts and talents that he had, but
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we don't know if they're gonna go to if Trevor Whitman took him back to basics. We don't know that. Right. I mean, he was gonna bullshit and better anyway. So we already know. We won't know until we see the actual fight that we can critique if it was actually going back to basics. Okay, then how you mentioned, we're gonna see that wrestling, right? Now that's going back to basics, right? Since you brought him in, he was a wrestler. So now you brought him in. Are we gonna see that?
And he wrestled in Northern Colorado, which is right there. Mm-hmm. Where he trained, so you'd think he would go back and work on it, incorporate it more.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I know we'll get into the main event, but I know that, I'm glad. One thing I'm proud of. One thing you pretty much disconnect yourself from the world and you focus more on mentally besides physically. That's what both of these individuals needed. You can't just you still can't lost, all right? It is what it is now, and then be all over social media and then not giving a shit about your training or not even, be concerned of what do you need to adjust, what do you need to look at, not looking at the tapes. where was my mistakes, my errors. You're just allowing your coach to go ahead and tell you, hey, this is what you did. No, you should join along with them and do it. Put your phone down, put it away, and just start focusing on your training and finding your mistakes to learn how to fix those errors and adapt.
Yeah. And even if you look at just his career, just in the UFC, majority of his fights have ended in the first round, where he's the finished guy. So it's like, I think only 1 or 2 fights have gone any longer than that. So it's like, do we really know that if it would have went longer, would he have used it, or would he have just been the same stand and bait? But like we saw it against Chandler, but he had an agenda against Chandler because of the war of words back and forth.
That was more personal than more like a.
So it's like with that, it's like you see a guy knock so many people out. It's like, how is he going to do later on? What if those early fights went longer? Would he have incorporated the wrestling into them and not got gun happy with trying to knock people out? You see it all the time where people try and continue that stretch and they lose their identity of what got them to the fight, rather than just follow the script, follow what you do. Right. Because they're like, oh, I knocked these 2 guys out. I got that bonus. I want to get that bonus again. And they chase instead of following the plan.
I mean, that's really up to Trevor Whitman, because I think that's something that he needs to realize that if he's noticing, of like how you mentioned, the way how he's losing his fights, first rounds, the minutes that he's lasted, no defense whatsoever. And looking at his losses is what, rear naked choke, triangle choke, TKO. Like, okay, but yet you're still continuing to do the same thing every other fight that you go on. Then there has to be a change. And we're gonna see it this Saturday. If we see that old back to basics, then we'll know. Then we'll definitely know this Saturday. So, but I'm with Coach. I still feel like he lost his momentum ever since. I think he hasn't been the same since a Khabib fight. I wouldn't even say that any Alvarez fight or any other fights. I think the Khabib one affected him mentally. I think that's where he was. He lost it from there. So he's not the same GAETHJE that we knew years ago. So, but can he get it back? Because, mind you, this is his last shot of being a number 1 contender on that title. So
this is that spot where he needs to win to keep it. And if he loses, it's okay. I'm going to go down to that keeper status.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. Let's get it, baby. Take us home. What do we got?
The main event, we got the trilogy, the welterweight championship. We got the champ, Leon Edwards, fighting in front of his home crowd, going up against the challenger. It's weird seeing Kamaru Usman wearing the challenger trunks now instead of the championship trunks. It's the trilogy fight.
I am excited. I'm stoked. We normally don't do it here, but because it's so, because we're not like entertainment that way, but I'm going to do it because I'm excited for this fight, because I'm going to make my pick, and I know I'm going to get shitted on, but I'm going to do this Nettie one for 1 minute here. I'm excited for Nettie. The fact of Nettie's style right now, because Leon I'm happy for where he's at. I'm so happy where he's at. And now he's, he's the champion. He's finally got what he's been fighting for so long. Now main eventing in the old famous O2 Arena, your hometown. I hope Leon took this rematch very seriously, more than Usman, because Usman, I like Usman because Usman, he really disconnects himself from the world, and he focuses on. I guarantee Usman's going to come with a vengeance. I see it in his eyes, seen his in his past interviews, recent ones. This guy is hungry. He wants his belt back. But Leon has that heart that it just drives me nuts. And Leon is and this is another one too, Bakley, how you mentioned. Is Usman gonna go back to the basics?
Well, he did it the first. He did it in August.
Yeah, but look what happened. Look what happened.
Well, I wouldn't say it didn't work, because he took him down 5 times and controlled him for the first 4 rounds with the grappling. It's just, I'll say right here, Leon Edwards had one of the best coaches in going into that 5th round, because he was like, you have to do something. you're going to lose this fight. You got to go throw caution in the wind. And he threw that perfect deception of the feint left to the right high kick that caught Usman. It caught him. The one thing that could beat Usman in that fight was getting finished in that last round. It literally 55 seconds left in the fight, I believe it was, and he got hit with it. It was the one thing that happened. But if you look at the fight, the whole fight in general, he was dominating the fight. One thing we didn't see up until that fight was Leon Edwards getting taken down. He had really good takedown defense, and he got taken down 5 times. He got control for a total of 7 out of that 15 minutes. Like, he had no answers for the wrestling. Because the 3 fights before that, we saw Usman do heavy boxing. He fell in love with the boxing because he was working in his fights.
Well, and winning his fights majority of the time, So
where I get like the difference between Usman and GAETHJE is we saw Usman kind of like develop more into a more overall fighter where he utilized the wrestle and to his advantage early in his career, and then he developed the striking. You saw a little bit more of the striking in the Gilbert Burns fight, and then you started seeing more and more and more of it, but he still used the grappling along the cage because he does a really good job of controlling guys along the cage.
Very true.
And using elbows, using the foot stomp, and just wearing on them. And he throws full high volume. He had those busy fights with Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. He was tested late in rounds. He has good cardio. He goes late in the fights. Whereas Leon Edwards, that was kind of like his first 5-round fight. And he got a little bit of taste. He got the victory, all the props in the world. But I just see a lot of the same for the first fight and the second fight. I think you might see a little bit of tenderness early because Usman in the back of his head knows I got hit in that 5th round. That's never happened to me before. So it's going to creep back into that head where maybe he's a little bit tentative, a little bit slow. But he's going to go for the same wrestling style. He might throw a little bit of different looks because he knows that he did it before, and Edwards is going to prepare for it. So you got to throw a little bit of different looks at him to throw him off of the original game plan. So you might see a little bit more mixture of less wrestling and add more of that boxing into it, but then more like the 50-50 style, like try and put both together to make him think more. I just think Usman dominated that fight. He had the one hiccup that cost him the fight. And I think he wants the belt back. Like you said, he's hungry. He wants it back. He knew that he had that fight, and he made that mistake. That was on him. He owned it. He said, I got hit. Props to him. But when he did what he did, and you give him any more motivation than what he had before that fight, that's dangerous. I think that's dangerous. And I think he's going to come in there. He's going to possibly want to finish Edwards. He's going to make a point. And I'm going safe, and I think he gets it done by decision. But I think he could finish him in rounds 2 or 3. I really do. I think he has the tools to do so.
I think so too, man. As much as I love Leon, because it's Usman. What can I say? It's fucking Usman, but oh my god.
And I'm not downplaying anything that Leon Edwards did either. I just saw that fight and I was like, he got thoroughly dominated, but then pulled out that one trick out of his bag.
Remember the beginning, he's the first man to take down Usman. We haven't seen Usman been taken down at all, so he did surprise us with that, and of course with the upset with the kick. Yeah. Now, is he able? The question is for Edwards, is he knowing that this man is going to come with a different strategy? Yeah. You mentioned 50-50, and how Coach already said it. MMA mixture right there of everything, and that's what's going to happen here in this fight.
Just look at the body language of Leon Edwards after round 4 ended, going back to the stool. He had very low
self-esteem.
Body language.
He had nothing.
And his coach, that's why I give his coach props for that. He talked him up. He was like, "You can do it. You can do it. Just go at him. Do whatever you can. This is your moment." And he made it happen.
Yeah. So I'm I hope I'm wrong on this one.
Yeah.
I'm going with my mind and my heart. So Usman will get his title back, and I'm playing it. And I say he'll get it by karma's a bitch. 4th round, he'll get it, and he'll probably do the TKO 4th round. I think he'll probably do that. I think he can do the 4th round TKO. But I hope I'm wrong because I want Edwards to win in his hometown. That's what my heart is telling me. My mind being analytical, I have to go with Usman. This guy he's a whole different. Oh, he took lucky win. But wait, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back strong. So yeah. That's all I got, man. Coach, break it down.
So I do not believe Usman. Watching his interviews when he's with all his bluster and bravado, he's always rubbed me the wrong way. That way, he's always had a facade, but he was saying, I'm the best in the world. I've already proven that. Blah 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 blah. You're not the best in the world right now. Leon Edwards is the best in the world because he knocked you out, and you know it, and everyone else knows it also. We saw what happened in the last fight. His camp, his coaches, we all know what happened. So I see Usman coming out super aggressive in round 1, and I think Usman might win round 1, and then I think Leon starts catching the timing and starts taking him apart, and I think Leon is going to knock out Usman again, and I think it's going to happen in round 3.
Ooh, I love that. So, because of the way how Usman's approaching this, you think mentally that's a mistake coming into the fight, into the octagon that way because of that mentality, like that revenge, that woman revenge mentality could really,
fighters, and I can say this because I've worked with them and I am one. Fighters are at their core, they're emotionally and psychologically damaged. And if we can manage it and channel it, then we do well. But I see a fractured ego and a weak ego, and Kamaru Usman, and I think he's trying to convince himself of his ability, where in the back of his mind and in his heart, he knows Leon beat him, and it will probably happen again. Even though, everyone's like, okay, but Usman was dominating that fight. Sure, cool, nice. Those are all buts. The reality is he got KTFO'd.
Yeah.
And that, first of all, that changes you physically, mentally, it changes you, but then psychologically it has an effect. But there's physiological changes anytime you get knocked out. So Usman's game is not complex. It's not sophisticated. It's just fast and strong and good. But you know what he's going to do. Where Edwards knows what Usman's going to do, but Edwards is also sophisticated. And so I think they've had enough time to prepare. They went into the first fight and found out, okay, this is what the takedown is. This is what. Now they have that information, the team, and they're making those preparations. Is it going to work? I think it is, but I could be wrong. It's happened once or twice.
Once or twice, no more than twice. Oh man, and you know what? To be honest, we've been doing this show, Coach. It's been the truth. It's been wrong once or twice. It hasn't been more than that. And we have it on record.
That's because I wasn't on the John Jones episode. Usually when I'm wrong, it's because I'm biased. It's because I'm like, I hate that guy. I want him to lose. Or I love this guy. I want him to win.
Yeah. And another factor with this fight is we have to remember that this is the third fight. They didn't just fight once before; they fought twice before.
Right.
Really?
So there's a lot of different looks in this. A lot of people thought that the first fight that it was closer than what the judges thought it was when Usman won that one. I believe it was 8 years ago. I believe it was, or six years ago.
Either of them were anybody.
Yeah, it was. I think it was Edwards' second fight in the UFC, and I think it was Usman's second as well.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Definitely, man. I'm excited. What a card we're gonna have. I mean, the prelims. I don't know if you guys had a fight in mind. The prelims you guys want to briefly discuss before we close it out here. I'm looking at the prelims. I mean, let me see. Let me share my screen so I can just let you guys see it yourselves. So you guys want to see the prelims fights here. Let's see. All right. Let me just take this away. Hold on 1 second. Right. There we go. All right. So what do we got here?
I'm interested in seeing how Leroy Duncan does. Christian Leroy Duncan is coming off of 2 title defenses in Cage Warriors. He has that kickboxing style. He likes to throw that flying knee. And his title defense, that's how he won the fight. The jumping flying knee, knocked his opponent out.
So why doesn't he have a picture?
I know, right? Where's the picture? So you guys, that's what? Okay.
I got to see how Juliana Miller does because she's coming in winning. She's coming in winning the what you call it, Ultimate Fighter, but then Veronica Maceda is coming in after retiring for 3 years. So she's unretiring to take this match up. And I got to see if Miller is the real deal. Like,
man, women's MMA is just nutty.
Yeah.
You know, you got someone with a 4-1 record in the UFC fighting somebody with a 6-4-1.
Yeah.
6-4-1.
And she hasn't fought in 3 years.
That's crazy. But you know, women's MMA is a different sport, so it's not fair to judge them by the male standards because there's so few female fighters and they are outliers. But it's just crazy to me to think that, you know, you have 5 fights and hey, welcome to the UFC. You know?
She has 5 fights, and then she did 3 fights in the span of like a month or 2 on the show, plus the finale which she
I was unimpressed by the talent on that show.
Yeah.
Unimpressed by her too.
I like the Jack Shore Americani fight. Jack Shore just moved up I believe he moved up the featherweight.
5.
And
15, my bad. Yeah, 15.
It's very interesting fight because Makwan, he's one of the best guys in the first round. He grapples really good in the first round. He throws a lot. But then if you can survive that first round, it's almost a guaranteed win because he gets very discouraged after doing that.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that. Oh, okay. Featherweights.
Yeah.
Featherweights or
featherweight.
Okay. And non-American. So hard for me to care.
Yeah. and then Jack Shore has an interesting style where he is a kickboxer, but then he has really high level Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So he's really good with the grappling there. But then is he normally a bantamweight? He's normally a bantamweight. His last fight, 2 fights ago, before he moved, he lost to Ricky Simone.
Okay.
And he got, I believe he got subbed, and then he decided that he would need to move to featherweight.
Okay. So we're looking forward to that. So this is, I guess, the prelims that we have: Chris Duncan, Omar Morales.
Duncan, we got 5 fighters making their debut on this card.
I can definitely see that now because there's nothing but UK fighters. Because of course, it's the UK, baby. That's what we're seeing. Yes.
So UK European MMA, but especially British MMA. It ain't
Yeah.
there yet. It ain't there yet. Their talent pool is shallow. Their training is a few decades behind.
Yeah.
However, that is going to change real quick. That's going to change in the next year or two. And the reason for that is the strength and conditioning.
Okay.
What happens over in a lot of countries that are not America, you can actually go to college and get educated for free. So you're then able to risk a career in sports science. And so there are so many former fighters, boxers, kickboxers, MMA fighters that finished their career, went back to university and started getting their PhD or started working in sports science research. And I'm going to say over there, that happens. It never happens here. You don't go back to school after you finish your fight career in the States. You just can't afford to do that. But it's pretty commonplace in Great Britain and Oz in Australia. So they have that advantage, and that's going to show up pretty rapidly. And both Australia and the United Kingdom are going to start being much more significant in their presence in MMA than they have been in the past decade.
If you go down to Mohammed Makayev, he's a very, it's true, he's United Kingdom, but he's actually, of course, Dagestanian. But he is a British. He's from Britain. Yeah.
So he's a British, he's a UK descent, but okay.
UK descent, but he is from Dagestan somewhere. But he's lived in UK all of his life. He has that Dagestanian wrestling background.
Yep.
He utilizes it, forward pressure, takedown. It's just constant. And he's been developing a little bit of the striking, and he does a lot of shit talking on Twitter, calling everybody out in that flyweight division. and the only reason he took this fight was because of he has a shoulder injury that he got a couple of months ago, and he's fighting through it.
Wow.
Okay.
He's going to fight through it, and that's why he took the fight against an unranked guy in Jafel Filo.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty stupid.
He's just blown, yeah.
Right? Like, what the hell?
Who did we just see?
That
just happened, right? Where somebody, TJ Dillashaw, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. He was injured and he came in and shit the bed and
he's retired.
Hey, thanks for wasting everyone's time, asshole.
There you go.
Yeah, I get it. You want to stay active, you want to fight, but there are knee injuries, shoulder injuries, cervical spine injuries, and lumbar spine injuries are not to be messed with.
Yeah. And I don't think he would have fought. I don't think he would have fought if it wasn't in London, because he's fought on every London card that they've had.
Yeah,
he makes it a point he wants to fight there.
But these guys, they weigh what my guys can curl. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm looking forward. I'm excited, gentlemen. Another thing I'm excited for, I encourage everybody. Besides here, you could go to the Bloodline Entertainment Network website. Go to bloodlinenetwork.com.
Bloodline.
Yes, right. You can find, of course, right here, all your, besides pro wrestling, you can find sports here. You can find your NFLs, NBA, fantasy draft for baseball and football, of course, MMA. Of course.
MMA is all that matters, guys.
Yes, we're right here, of course. We're here. We got Bakley in the house here with his bet slips, of course. He gives you the odds-on favorites and who, his picks. The bet slip from Cage right here from Bakley. And, of course, his picks and predictions for every fight night. is right here as well on the website. You can find it here. He has it all here. BloodlineNetwork.com. We are featured here, of course, as well.
Wow.
There you go. That's the recent one. And yes, we'll be seeing a lot more content from Bakley and us here on the BloodlineNetwork.com. Make sure I encourage you guys to check it out. If you guys want to get into fantasy sports, anything else besides wrestling, there's football, there's articles as well that you can read upon. But articles besides pro wrestling, there's also for MLB and for football. So yes, coming soon. Hopefully, we'll have an MMA article.
But more importantly, MMA and circle of debate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the bloodline is this. Mainly that.
And we got my interviews up here too. Last week I had Tanner Boozer on. Talked to him ahead of his light heavyweight move back against Ian Kudalaba. That's next month.
That is right here.
And
Tanner Boozer, baby. That's the interview right there.
Yep. And I got Blake Bider coming up. He was on UFC Perth. He defeated Shane Young in that fight by decision. In his debut in the UFC. I got him coming on in the next couple of days.
Wow, that's cool.
Awesome. And also on Circle Debate, for the first time, we're going to have an interview. We are going to have an interview for the first time. I'm not going to announce it yet. You guys will see the announcement, but he is a BKFC fighter. He has won Fight of the Year. I believe last year he did. And he is going to be interviewing with the director. So, and that is, of course, David El Perro El Necio Diaz will be on the show. And I'm excited, and I'll share the stats so you guys know who he is. This man right here, number 3 ranking in bantamweight in the BKFC, and he will be with us on Sunday afternoon. And it's going to be interesting to speak to him. So I'm excited to get to know. I was actually talking to him personally this past Sunday. And we just chopped it up and told him, oh, my God, really? Okay, I want to come on. And now he's going to come on this Sunday. I'm excited for the director to go ahead and give us some knowledge, break it down here, learning from El Perro Necio, David Diaz. Of course, from Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Man, I'm excited. I'm stoked. Man, and more interviews coming. Not for me, from Bakley. Not for me, probably the coach. Maybe the coach might bring some people off here. You never know. Probably haven't. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. We'll be back next Wednesday to give a recap of this incredible fight. Don't forget to tune in this Saturday, UFC 256. And it's an early one, okay? UK time, guys. It's not like nighttime, so it's probably starting here, our time Pacific. I believe 2:00. I believe so. It's going to start in our time. But obviously we're going to wake up early in the morning because I have to watch the early prelims like around 11, 12. So
yeah, I'm old, so I kind of like that anyway.
I think it's earlier than that. The prelims for you guys, because I think the prelims for me start at 1.
Okay, so yeah, it is earlier then. So it's gonna be 10 o'clock our time. Shit.
Hey,
so yeah,
that works. That works for me.
There you go. And don't forget as well, subscribe and follow.
Is this a pay-per-view?
Yes, pay-per-view.
It's pay-per-view, yeah.
Pay-per-view. So yeah, this is pay-per-view. But don't forget, subscribe and follow. Follow, of course, Coach Rage on his social media platforms, on his YouTube. It's right below. Follow Ire, ladies and gentlemen. Ire, baby. That's right. Coach got a lot of fantastic content all over. And, hey, you want him to train you, hit him up on social media. He will take you to school. He'll take you to the hell back in that cage. He's going to show you why he's called Coach Rage for a reason. That's right. That's right. Of course, Bakley, you can find Bakley, of course, here and on Cage My IQ YouTube channel, where he just had his, he's been having a lot of incredible interviews and a lot of his bet slips as well, fight nights. Follow him as well on Twitter and on Instagram, all over the social media platforms. And follow the Bloodline Network as well, right below the description, the website, social media, the YouTube channel, and the Circle Debate as well. Do not forget. So we'll be back here next week, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you all for tuning in. This is the host Stevie's What I Just See, along with, of course, Coach Rage and Mr. Bakley, the Mr. IQ himself. Letting you guys know that I'll catch you guys on the next one.